just hold it like, let go. Like, get your hand out of there. Take your hand out. Like that.
Do you have like a presentation?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about things which I had learned. This is the reason why I wanted to actually do it.
Do you have it with you?
Yes, I brought it with me. Here, I'll just kind of hold it like this. Anyway, it's all right. So, well, it was a learning experience, and texting now. I would say that. Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a free-for-all in the end. I think next time we'll have to try to control it from descending back into the debate about the actual bridge again. But I thought at that time it was sort of natural that would happen, so I kind of just let it go. But I was hoping, I would like to actually give more of a presentation style thing, where people come and actually listen to things that I have learned which I want to share to help inform people, you know what I mean? But other than that, I think attempting to the important takeaways from that night would be that people on Mill Road in Romsey need or want, but there's an appetite for a kind of a space where they can air their different points of view in a kind of congenial manner, even if it is a very divisive topic. There's too much division on Mill Road, there's too much cliquiness on Mill Road, and there's not enough productive conversational dialogue happening. Actually, that night went quite well in the end, I think, because you did have those different points of view there who, instead of just arguing at each other and storming off, it ended sort of mutually. There has to be a common ground that everybody on Mill Road can find to come back together again. And I think that one of the takeaways from it was everybody feels how much of a shame it is, how divisive this situation has become, and how divided the community has come over it. And so for me, you know, I wanted to bring this situation to a head and bring the conversation back out, and I encouraged different points of view to speak, and hopefully the Mill Road community can find some way to kind of compromise and what's the word? Reconcile with itself. You know what I mean? And all I'm doing is driving a stake in the ground and saying, come here if you think this. And obviously people are going to disagree, but a lot of people agree. But when they disagree and agree, they can come together and actually kind of discuss their different perspectives rather than just sort of overrule each other. So if the campaign or the candidacy of William Bennell for Romsey could mean anything, hopefully it could mean uniting the community again.
Uniting the independent Romsey.
United as an independent Romsey, where it's not so top down, you know.
But what are you actually going to do in terms of? It seems like you're standing up for one issue about the middle.
Yeah, well, that's that.
But what is that? Other than that, you can offer to
well,
Romsey?
that's something which I think came out of this meeting. Instantly, the meeting degenerated into the Mill Road Bridge debate again, and it did. But I suppose the thing is that you have to confront these issues. But for me, that's only a starting point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Mill Road Bridge issue is only one issue in the area. It just happens to be a very important one, from my point of view, that will affect everybody in Cambridge. But I was hoping that we could have steered the conversation into other issues. And so, you know, as a representative or a candidate, I have to ask people, what are your concerns? You know, what is it that you're actually caring about? And I did that with Anne at the end. She gave me a few things that she'd written on a piece of paper, so I can go and consider that. And everyone's got their own little issues, haven't they? Everyone's got their own grievances or their own gripes, or there's always going to be the potholes equation, which is a tough one to solve. But I think as a candidate or as a councillor, we have to be realistic to understand what the council is actually capable of doing, which I don't think is very much these days, because we've got like the GCP and the CACP and big development corporations coming in and overruling everything. What can a councillor actually do other than facilitate a discourse and listen to the people's points of view? And I don't want to be a single issue candidate, and I don't want to be someone who's just driving in very strongly on one side of a divisive debate.
How would you get around it?
What, get around being that?
Just one issue.
I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to. The thing with tonight was you had two people who were against. What was it? 25 people. And I respect that, and you have to kind of accommodate them and know it's okay that you disagree, that everyone disagrees with you. You're speaking your point of view, and but then I also want to go closer to those people and understand where they're coming from, and then hopefully, I mean, at the end of the night, they had also had, I think, positive interactions with people of the opposite camp, and we can start, fingers crossed, to reconcile.
How many people do you believe, without having done any consultations, would be for voting for you?
I mean, how many people?
If there was no issue with the male,
if the bridge wasn't an issue, this wouldn't be happening. But the point is, I think that bridge is a very, very important issue to such a lot of people, and the sort of demographic of people in favour of closing the bridge, or kind of like outright bludgeoning it through the way that the council did, is a minority. It's just that there's a kind of a silent majority that's never really been mobilised before, but also
you would have enough time in this month to mobilise.
That's the question, isn't it? But I'm only here to I'm here to force the issue, which is what happened tonight. But then in forcing the issue, I'm also hoping to kind of draw out those people who might be willing to compromise with each other. And I think that somebody said tonight, if there was actually a positive vision being put forward, that might help the situation. There's too much negativity and naysaying between different camps who won't interact. But actually, you could think, there could be a positive route forward for Mill Road and the Mill Road community.
Unite.
The thing is that tonight, I actually think, and people have said this tonight, is that actually people have got a lot of pent up stuff that they need to vent out, and just by putting on this night, I've kind of offered that opportunity for people to come and say.
Yeah.
And even if they're on different points of view of the different factions, no one else has done that for them. The other candidate, the previous administration and the current administration hasn't facilitated meaningful or healthy conversation. It's actually, I think, exacerbated tensions and divisions, and that's the situation which I came into a year ago. But it was already there. You know what I mean? I found it there, and it's a shame. I think it's sad what's happened to Mill Road, and hopefully we could. I would suggest, because I'm always learning, aren't I? And tonight was an interesting one. This could collapse and devolve and degenerate back into a divisive debate again, or it could be an opportunity for Mill Road to right itself and reconcile with itself and come up with a meaningful compromise that works for probably not everybody, but at least suits enough people that it is basically accepted and people can get over this ridiculous road situation. and get on with their lives. You see, that's in my idealistic point of view. But we'll see how people respond to it. I'd also like the opportunity to be able to show some people who are my sort of critics that I'm more than just a critic of the council. Actually, I'm creative, I'm imaginative, I've got good ideas, I'm positive, I work well in a team, you know, I manage a business, so I've got skills and attributes that I could bring to Mill Road that they might actually benefit from.
I think this is some things that people would like to hear more from you, of your own personality. That
I think
you
so.
bring it rather than siding only one side of the issue, right?
Exactly.
Do you feel like you are presenting minority point of view, or you representing all of the Romsey?
Well, I mean, just based on what I was saying tonight, I've been channeling and giving voice to all of those people who have been saying how unhappy they are with the situation with the bridge and with the Labour Party and with their representatives no longer representing them. That's a very common feedback. So in my view, that's actually a majority view. But then from a principle, you would have to represent the minorities as well. You know what I mean? You couldn't just be like, right, majority overrules the minority, that's it. Because that's not fair, that's not democratic, you know. That's the tyranny of the majority over the minority. There has to be protections for minority interests, and I think that's why our democracy is sort of struggling, really, because you've got too many groups of activists who are organised who think that if they dominate and overpower public feedback channels like consultations, and they basically get their way and everyone else has to just suck it up. That's wrong in my point of view. I think that we should live in a society which balances different needs. I think that's what democracy is really about. You can't just have, right, 75% of people think this, therefore 25% of people can go fuck themselves. You know what I mean? Because within that 25% might be important needs. You know, disabled people, other handicaps, you know, or just people who are individualistic and don't necessarily want to join in with politics or take part. You know what I mean? Artists and what have you. Everyone has a right. Your rights don't. Your rights are not conferred on you by a membership of a group. We just have them. You know. Anyway. We'll close that off there. That was the end of day 2 of Will's campaign. All right, so we'll see how it goes tomorrow. I'm going to be door knocking again tomorrow, and thanks for watching.